All right, welcome guys. Going to be a little bit of an earlier live stream breaking down Monday Night Football. The reason I'm doing it earlier is because we have NBA preseason coming up in about an hour and a half. I'll be doing a stream for that as well. So I wanted to get the NFL. I didn't want to just not do an NFL stream. So yeah, I'm excited for this game. Chargers and Raiders. It should be a pretty high total game. It's 51.5 over under. Both offenses are pretty solid now. We don't have confirmation yet on Josh Jacobs, I don't think. That's the one real big piece of news we're waiting on, right? So I think we're still waiting on that one. But other than that, everyone else is basically good to go. And yeah, so again, going to be general Q&A live stream, guys. So make sure to leave some questions in the chat. Hope you guys had a good Sunday. Again, I'll have an early look video up tomorrow for week 5. My week 4 main, so it went pretty well. Could have been a lot better. Again, I'll talk about that more with Jalen Hurts. Yeah, just waiting on Josh Jacobs. So yes, I don't think we've gotten that yet. I mean, I can do a little Twitter search on my end. Let's see, Josh Jacobs. Yeah, they're going to wait to see how he does in pregame warm-ups. I mean, he practiced on Saturday. I would lean towards he plays. That's my guess. What's going on, Taylor? How's it going, guys? Jumpman, what's up? 24/7, what's going on? Hopefully Josh Jacobs doesn't play. If I had to lean, I think he does. If he doesn't, it's going to be Peyton Barber and Kenyon Drake combo, with Barber probably getting more of the touches on the ground. My issue with Peyton Barber is I just don't think he's that good. I really don't. First game, 13 carries, 32 yards. Yeah, he had a solid game last game. I just think he might be a little bit overowned if Jacobs is out. You did. Yeah, I feel like some people either did really well or really didn't do well. Obviously, having Tyreek Hill in my one GPP lineup helped, going for 50 fantasy points. Yeah, so in large field tournaments, I usually don't consider the quarterbacks unless they have rushing upside. So I'll be looking to more of the skill position players for tournaments. Justin Jackson or Jalen Richard. Is he healthy? He's in the IR, right? Unless doesn't return. Okay, so he is designated to return. I mean, probably Jackson. I'm not sure if Richard sees the field. We'll see. I mean, he is a good pass catching back, but Brady killed me with his terrible play. Yeah, he wasn't great. I mentioned that at Patreon. I was like, I don't mind fading Tom Brady because of the price point, because he was like 90. Like, he should not have been 90% owned, right? Waller and Allen might get that fade, though. Might get that fade out. You're thinking about fading Waller and Allen? That's a bold fade. Two guys that look really solid. Waller's obviously their top target, and Allen just going to get 10 targets a week or so. Carl T. Kid, they go, hey, appreciate that, man. Thanks. NBA DFS. Yeah, so I'll be doing a live stream on Patreon in about an hour for that. I just didn't have time last night to make it. I was up to 3 a.m. trying to get my NFL content up just because I was out Sunday night. So just didn't have the time to make a YouTube video too. Yep, I'm playing preseason, covering that over on Patreon today. I'll have a video for YouTube video for tomorrow for preseason. Again, it was just a time thing for me. I just didn't have enough time to make, I got to do YouTube videos for both, Patreon videos for both. There's a ton of work that a lot of people don't see on the YouTube end. So just didn't have the time to make the preseason video. Thoughts on fading Carr? I'm fine fading one of the quarterbacks. It's a high total game, so I probably don't fade both. But there's skill position players that really dominate the usage. Obviously, the Chargers, the 3 main guys in Williams, Eckler, and Allen. For the Raiders, it's Waller that's going to get probably close to 10 targets. So I think you can make the argument to fade one quarterback to try to jam in a lot of those top guys. DK, do you do prize picks too? I'll give advice here and there. I personally really don't play it. But yeah, I'll give advice. NBA. Yeah, so I try to keep the stream to NFL only content, guys. Yeah, Suggs in the main slate for NBA is fine. He's a fine play. I think he gets a decent amount of run. Kind of depends, just because with the NFL content, there's a lot. So maybe here and there you'll see me do some YouTube live streams too for NBA preseason, but I'm just going to kind of come down to time. Mike Williams is $14K. That's pretty expensive on FanDuel. Waller hasn't had good games. The key to the defense and why Edwards, Ruggs, and Renfrow has good games. Yeah, you don't have to play Darren Waller. You don't have to. But he's going to play basically the entire game. And he has the upside to really break a slate. So definitely not a must play, but someone I think that does look really solid. Could you fade both? I probably wouldn't. You're going to need something pretty weird to happen. In a high total game, I wouldn't. And maybe a super, super low scoring game, I think you could get away with that. But in a high total game, I don't think I fade both. Darwin, nah. I mean, I'm not going to avoid Darren Waller for an individual matchup. He's too, like, the top players, I really don't take individual matchups into consideration much. Alec Ingold, sleeper. I mean, he was actually, is he for sure in? Because I know he was a little bit banged up. I had him as the Q tag. He, in the, what was it? Yeah, the first Monday night game, he had 4 catches. He did have actually 1 touchdown last week, too. So, like, large field tournament, sure. I mean, he's not going to be involved a ton, but there's a chance he gets in the end zone or maybe catches a pass or two. Or you saw what Kyle Juszczyk did, what was that, last week, right? Edwards captain with Carr, Herbert, Eckler, Ruggs, and Cook. Yeah, so Bryan Edwards, I think the Raiders receivers, I don't think are going to get a ton of ownership. So, you know, Bryan Edwards is a guy they hyped up a lot coming into the season. He's been all right. He hasn't really had a breakout game yet. Averaging, about 4 targets a game or so. I'm fine with that as contrarian captain. It's not something I love, but he should be relatively low owned, I would think. Thoughts on Moreau. Missed the first part of the stream if you mentioned him. Fine large field tournament play. He's the backup tight end. He's gotten 5 targets now through 3 games. So large field tournament play, good with it. He's in the same boat as maybe a guy like Guyton. A couple other viable value plays down here, like Parm played over half the game. XFL guy who used a lot. If you guys follow my XFL content, so there are some pretty cheap guys you can go to as punt options. Moreau, I'm fine with Moreau. Like, I don't love it, I don't hate it. 288 over or under for Derek Carr and 302. We're talking about like passing yards. So it's a high total game. Let's see. Carr's had some overtime games, right? He's known for a ton of yards. Again, a lot of those have been, I think it's been 2 overtime games so far for the Raiders. I don't have a super strong take on that. Like, I think those feel about right. Like, I would say around 300 yards feels about right for both quarterbacks. So, like, I don't think there's a big edge there. Ingold, a good play if he's healthy. He's a fine large field tournament play. I think there's other better, cheap options. But, hey, he's viable. And the Raiders at times, go to the fullback. Is Jacobs playing? We don't know that for sure. And best quarterback, if you're going to look at, like, who's more talented individually, I would say probably Herbert. But you have Carr that's $400 cheaper. I don't really have a super strong lean on which quarterback. Cash games, you probably play them both, obviously. Again, I think you could get away with fading one of those guys in a GPP setting. But I would say, like, who has more upside is probably Herbert. I think Herbert has a little more upside than Carr. But they're both going to project pretty close tonight. So, yeah, I don't have a super strong take on that. I'll have one up for tomorrow. Yeah. Just came down to time for me. Again, I was up till 3 a.m. making that NFL content. I would have been up till 4 a.m. if I made an NBA video for YouTube as well. So, just didn't have enough time. Guys, if you're just coming in, if you could, make sure to hit that like button if you enjoy. I'll be live for another 15 minutes talking some NFL Monday Night Football. I don't know if there's a best cheap option. There's probably, so it depends like how cheap you're looking to, right? So are we talking 4K and below? 4K and below, I think you have both kickers. They're safe options and kind of upside, right? I think with the Raiders kicker, yeah, Carlson has double-digit fantasy points the last 3 weeks. Now, obviously, it kind of comes down to a little bit of luck, right, with teams getting stuffed maybe in the red zone or just, stopped when they get in the opposing, above the opposing 50. So yeah, both kickers I think are viable. I'm not really looking to either defense. Again, you need to pick 6, which always viable, but like I'm not really looking to either defense in a high total game. Again, you have Guyton who's played in over 50% of snaps the last 3 games. He hasn't done a ton, but he'll be out there a decent amount. People have mentioned Alec Ingold, the fullback. I think he's fine. We're probably ranking behind a couple other guys. I did have the big game 1. You have Donald Parham, who did play over 50% of the snaps last week. He's a decent pass-catching tight end, but I would say he's definitely behind Jared Cook. And then a couple guys mentioned Foster Moreau, which I think is fine too. Where is he? Foster Moreau too. A backup tight end who's gotten now 5 targets the last 2 games. So, what? 5 or so guys I think that are viable in the really cheap end. Maybe 6. Is there a way to calculate total ownership for your lineup using ownership projections to compare against the contest you were entering? Not sure what you mean by that. Captain Keenan or Captain Eckler? I mean, I like them both. Both guys are going to get heavily involved. Keenan will get double-digit targets, and Eckler probably at least 5 targets in the backfield and 10 to 15 carries. Safer option, maybe Eckler, just because he's a running back, but I like them both. Thoughts on Guyton? He's played over 50% of the snaps the last 3 games. He's the number 3 receiver for the Chargers. Been a little bit disappointing so far, but I think he is definitely someone we can look to for some salary relief. It's not like a jam, oh my God, I'm so excited to jam in Jalen Guyton. But 5 targets, 2 targets, 1 target, he's in play. If we're going to some of these top end guys, we're going to need 1 or 2 cheap guys. So he's definitely someone you can consider. Both quarterbacks is the safest way. Safest way to go. Not always going to work out for tournaments. You'll see GP winning lineups with only 1 quarterback in it. Yeah, best captain plays. Go over that on Patreon. I'll talk about what I think is kind of the optimal lineup, where I really like going for captain spots, all that good stuff. So that's over on Patreon if that's something that interests you. Guyton always provides big splash ability. Yeah, I mean, he's a guy, he'll get opportunities, right? There's no guarantee he's going to make the most of it, but he's cheap, and he'll probably play at least half the game. Both running backs, I don't care. Bert. Okay, you can play both running backs. Eckler and one of the Raiders guys, you mean? Waller and Renfro or Carr and Edwards. I mean, it depends what you're playing, right? Cash games, I'm always going to lean to the quarterback side just because they have a higher floor. For tournaments, I kind of like the upside in the first one. I think Waller can break the slate, and Renfro's been solid. He kind of comes down to how the game flows. So, he's a slot wide receiver, so he'll play more when they're playing from behind. He'll play a little bit less if they're playing from ahead. So if you think the Raiders fall behind early, then Renfro's a guy you're probably going to want some exposure to. Appreciate that, man. Thanks. 4-2 Chargers, a 3-3 split. So it's probably, if you just look at the value, the Chargers probably have a little bit better value. But I don't have a saying you had to go 4-2 or 3-3. I think if I was going to go load up more on one team, it probably would be the Chargers. So yeah, I don't think I would go 4-2 Raiders. Any interest in the defense? In a large field tournament, yes. If you're making a ton of lineup, sure. But you're going to need a defensive touchdown. The way I play Showdowns is I play one lineup, and I'm usually just playing large field tournaments. So in my one lineup, I'm not really going to look to the defenses. But yeah, if you're making a ton of lineups, obviously we've seen what was that? What was the game where there were 2 pick sixes? I think about a week ago. I forget which game that was. I don't know. All the Showdown sites blend together with me, but we're one where both defenses actually got in the end zone. So in a high total game, you're going to need something like that. You're going to need a punt return, or you're going to need a pick six. So whatever the chances are of a punt return, pick six, probably 5%, maybe a little bit more. So maybe if you're building a 150 lineup, you have 5% or so of the defenses. I don't know. I mean, I don't build 150 lineups, so I'm not the best person to ask for that, but that's what I would be fine with. Yeah, no lineups because that's actually against the rules for Draftkings. So I'm giving advice. I'm giving information. Information is pretty key in both NFL and NBA, obviously. Raiders 4-2. Yeah, I mean, Raiders 4-2 will be unique. It's a little bit harder to do that, but that'll make you pretty unique. Again, if I had to lean towards one team I would get more exposure to, it would be the Chargers, just because taking price in consideration, right? You look at the expensive guys, you look at the cheap options. Raiders have a lot of guys in the mid-range, where the mid-range is a little bit hard to get to, because then if you go mid-range, you're going to avoid, a few of these studs. And both teams are kind of like, the Green Bay Packers, where it's like where the ball is going. So, I want to get to as many stars as I can. For the Packers, obviously, it's Devontae, it's Aaron Jones. For the Chargers, we have, the two main receivers in Eckler. For the Raiders, it's Waller and, whoever's playing running back. Oh, yeah, that was it, Eagles versus Cowboys. But it ended up, I don't think, how many points did the Cowboys D finish with, though? It still wasn't a ton, I don't think. Maybe they had 10. Carlson captain with Herbert Eckler. I mean, for me, I don't love the kicker captain one, unless you think it's going to be a little bit of an uglier game. Eckler gets rushing and passing yards like my captain. Yeah, I mean, Eckler's safe, right? He played 75% of the snaps last game. He's going to get probably somewhere around 10 to 15 carries and probably around 5 to 10 targets. So I think he's very safe. He'll get some goal line work, red zone touches. The snaps on Justin Jackson and Roundtree have gone down. Right, week 1, Eckler only played half the game, and now it's slowly gone up. He played 3/4 of the game last game, so I think it's going to be around that. So I agree. I think he's a safe target. Yep, red zone carries for sure. Debo for Keenan. I would rather have Keenan than Debo. That's just me. I know Debo's had a couple big games. I would rather have Keenan Allen. I mean, it's projected to be pretty close, right? 3-point spread, so I think it could go either way. Let's see, what else? Do we have any Josh Jacobs news? Someone said he's highly questionable. I don't know if I believe that. All right, yeah, so still no news yet on that one. But again, if Jacobs is out, then expect Barber to get the more the early down work, and then I would expect Kenny and Drake to get a lot of that third down work, passing down work. It's hard to make a lineup tonight because both teams have great production for their main guys, and I can't fit it all in one lineup. Yeah, it is. You're gonna have to fade 1 or 2 guys you don't really want to. So that stars and scrubs build looks probably a little bit better than the balance one. Zay Jones lottery ticket. I mean, yeah, that's large field tournament play. What in the first season of the game he got that overtime touchdown, right? So if you go back to let's see, where are the Raiders wide receivers? He played it on 27% of the snaps week 3. Let's see, week 2. He played on 17% of the snaps, and week 1, I think it was around a quarter of the game, 220. So, you're probably going to get somewhere around 20% of the snaps for Zay Jones. Sure, he can catch a touchdown at the time. We saw it week 1. So, yeah, he's not out of play, but not something you're going to feel great about, at least for playing time. You're probably going to need someone in front of him to get injured. Guyton lottery ticket. So, for me, I think Guyton's safer than Zay Jones. And it just comes down to opportunity, right? I know Guyton hasn't done the best with his opportunity. 62% of the snaps week 3. Week 2, 70%. Week 1, 65. So both priced about the same. I mean, I'm just going to lean for the one that's going to have more opportunities. Is it possible that Zay Jones catches a touchdown in his limited snaps and does better than Guyton? Of course, yeah. But I mean, I'm going to prefer the guy that has more opportunities. It seems like Waller always does really good in the showdown slates. I agree. Ruggs would be an interesting option. I think Ruggs is a fine tournament play. More boom or bust. He's running the big route, so he's gonna, he's a guy that can break the slate and go for a 50-yard touchdown. I think the floor is a little bit lower on him, but for his price, yeah, he's got upside, right? He's only 6.4K. I think he's a fine tournament play. I don't know if I play him in a cash game setting. Just I don't think I trust him for cash. Tournaments, though, yeah. I missed what you said about Jared Cook. You think it's worth it if FanDuel for $7,500? I think Jared Cook's safe. That seems pretty cheap on FanDuel. He's 4.4 on DraftKings. 8.53 targets. He played 70% of the snaps last week. So, like, he's going to play a majority of the game, probably get somewhere around 5 targets. He's a guy they can look to in the end zone. He hasn't caught a touchdown yet. But, yeah, I like Jared Cook. I think he's another safe value play. Guyton captain with Eckler. Okay, so like I think it's a decent GBP build. You're going someone really cheap in the captain spot and then jamming in the top guys. It's a riskier build, but you have Guyton the captain. If Guyton gets in the end zone, you're pretty much set, right? So like your lineup's going to come down to Guyton, and if he has a good game, you're most likely going to cash. So like I'm fine building a lineup like that. It's riskier. I don't know why the Chargers don't start Donald Parham. He's a solid pass catching tight end. I mean, he's still getting a lot of snaps. He played in over half the game last game. Yeah, I would agree. Like Jared Cook is not the same player. He's still like a fine player, average, but like he's not the same tight end he used to be. I think Edwards is a big game for the Raiders along with the run. I think they try to slow down the offense. Okay, yeah. I think Edwards, fine contrarian option. Hasn't really had a big game yet, but he did play the most out of the Raiders wide receivers. He played 76% of the snaps last week. So Chargers don't get the big play yet. Edwards keeps getting touchdowns, call back. He's due. Again, he's been getting he got a lot of praise going into this year. So, like, I think the talent is there for Bryan Edwards. You have a car over on passing yards and completions. I mean, I think someone said it's like 290 or something. That feels about right. I don't have strong lane there. Keenan Allen, captain. I think one of the better GBP captain plays. Safe, going to run a ton of routes, getting a ton of targets. And he's cheap. He's way cheaper than Mike Williams. Captain Guyton with Carr Eckler. Yeah, so that's kind of the same build. I think it's a fine tournament play. If Guyton gets in the end zone or has 4 or 5 catches, you're probably set. Bryan Edwards cheated tonight. Yeah, he hasn't had the big game yet, but again, he's a guy that I think does have the upside. Would Renfro make a better flex play than C? Would Renfro make a better flex play than C? Who's C? Does he have 2 touchdowns called back? Yeah, so like he's got upside. Drake's role doesn't change. I don't think so. I think Drake will still be their passing down running back. So, like Jacobs and Barber are not the best catching the ball. So, I don't think Josh Jacobs playing or not affects Drake too much. I think Drake's role will kind of be the same. You know, Jacobs being in would obviously make Barber completely out of play, unless they are going to very limit Josh Jacobs. So I don't think that would happen. I think if he plays, he'll get a normal workload. Who do you think is going to go way over or going to go over owned? Mike Williams because of recency bias. Now, I've said this the last couple of weeks, and he continues to put up big games. He's having a breakout year. I can't deny that. But I'll say the same thing I said about Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods. Okay, Cooper Kupp is not going to continue to play this well every single game. You're going to see some regression and some positive out of Robert Woods. That's why I had Robert Woods as one of my top options for the main slate. Ended up happening. Right? Robert Woods had a solid game. Cooper Kupp not as much. So I don't think Mike Williams is going to average 30 fancy points a game. That's what I'm saying. So I think he regresses a little bit. I think people are going to chase it. I don't think obviously he can still get there. I've been wrong last couple of weeks, but he's just one where I prefer other guys a little bit cheaper. Yeah, they're definitely not going to prioritize using Guyton. Simeon's captain. Oh, so would Renfro make a better flex play than captain? If you think the Raiders fall behind early, I think Renfro makes for an okay contrarian captain play. Again, he kind of comes down to how the game flows, though. If they fall behind, he'll play more. Good call. Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. Last couple questions, then I'm going to get out of here. Appreciate you coming to check out the live stream. Really do. We hit almost 200 concurrent viewers and 44 likes. Maybe try to get to 50 before the end of the show. If you guys at least enjoy, hit that like button. It does help me out. Drake Cook or Guyton straight up. Probably Drake is the safest option. Yeah. Cup had to face NFC Defensive Player of the Week, though, in Murphy, though. Yeah, either way, I'm just saying, I don't think Mike Williams continues to average 30 fantasy points. Mike Williams, he's talented. He's talented. I could be wrong, but I'll probably continue to fade him. I don't really like buying high-end guys. If he has another big game, so be it. Oh, is it his birthday? Oh, that means he's having a big game. Roundtree punt, you're probably going to need something to happen to Eckler. He played 10% of snaps last week, so not a ton that not really something you can feel confident about. But all right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. So good luck tonight. Hopefully you enjoy this game. Hope you guys make some money, and I'll be back Thursday. If you're interested in NBA content, I'll have a video up for tomorrow's preseason slate, probably later tonight. So good luck tonight, guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.